Hey, Dena here. Yeah, it's another commentary. A lot of life stuff has just really gotten in the way of my making videos. Part of it is that Lee had to have his gallbladder removed recently. He has just about recovered though, so hopefully he'll get back to making videos soon. And I've been fighting off a sinus infection for 2 weeks. Fortunately, I'm nearly better too. Quick update, I've just had to deal with so much this past month that I regret to inform that I will just not have time to put out a big multi-part game den this October. But I will have a Silent Hill related video to post on the last Friday of October. At least it's something, and I do think you guys will like it. In the meantime, here's some commentary on my very first Game Den episode. Ah yes, the old blistered thumbs animation. Oh wait, I still use it. I'm sorry, I just like it. If anybody complains, I guess I'll stop, but if they don't, I'm just gonna keep using it. I like how my very first episode is the one that had the most elaborate opening. It's like I did it once, then I'm like, fuck that. I created that cat in 3D Studio Max, and I rigged it using Biped. I used to work for a video game developing company, so I kind of know how to do that sort of thing, or at least I used to. It's been a very long time since I've done it, but I actually put together a YouTube video where I explained how I made it, sort of a demonstration, and you know what, I think I'll upload that to Blip, and then I'll link to it in the description. I could use the extra revenue. So yeah, I really personalized this whole thing. I didn't really talk about the game's history or who made it or, you know, anything interesting behind the making of it. I basically told like my experience with the game, and that was really how I wanted to approach this. I wanted to really personalize it. And that was really what I wanted to do with the Game Den. I wanted it to be all about, like, I love this game, here's how I discovered it, and here's why I love it, here's why I think you should play it too, that kind of thing. And I guess I've kind of gotten away from that with the Silent Hill videos, but there's a little bit of that in there, I think. But yeah, obviously the Silent Hill videos, I take a different approach. It's more about the game's backstory, what everything represents. I just had to show some Boris Vallejo paintings. I'm such a big fan of his. And He-Man, of course. I've always been a huge fan of He-Man. You already know that if you saw my Pixels as Big as Cats episode where I did the Atari 2600 game based on that. Yeah, I really stumbled around trying to describe this genre. It's called sword and sorcery, Dena. I'm sure I had heard that term at some point, but it just didn't click. And oh, another thing is I was not scripting my videos back then, I don't think. I think I was going off of an outline. Yeah, I didn't start scripting until I did, I think, Silent Hill 2. Because I know this and Thrill Kill both were unscripted.
Oh, look at that! You were riding on the back of a giant eagle that whole time and you didn't even know.
I don't know what possessed the creators of this game to give that eagle such a, like, vivid, animated blue eye, but it's awesome. I love it. It's just such a random choice, blue-eyed eagle.
Just knock someone off their dragon and take it from them.
There's a Lee cameo coming up here.
Dragons aren't very loyal, apparently. They'll just side with whoever the hell happens to be riding on them at the time.
Yeah, just like a hooker.
Shut up, Lee.
Yeah, that came about because he actually, I had recorded that line, and I was playing it back, and Lee literally just, you know, like from somewhere behind me yelled, "Yeah, just like a hooker!" It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, we're putting that in. And he even stood like about 5 feet behind me and yelled it out as if, you know, to kind of recreate the way the line came about in the first place.
So when I was playing my games at home and then going to the corner store and playing those arcade games.
Oh yeah, I got a couple minor little complaints about this. Some people took this a little too much to heart and thought I was knocking Berserk, and I absolutely was not knocking Berserk. It's an awesome Atari 2600 game. My point was just that it's an Atari 2600 game, and you compare that to this, and there's a huge jump in the quality of the graphics and just the general feel and intensity of it. I was just kind of trying to compare the two and explain why it was such a big deal for me as a kid to play arcade games. you younger gamers just do not know how spoiled you are, because you can play like Golden Axe on your TV, you know, anytime you wanted, but I would have to, like, you know, walk down to the local Circle K and pump quarters into a machine to play it. I had to walk uphill 5 miles both ways in the snow. There's another bit where people kind of took it the wrong way. I was not trying to imply that the Punisher game was, you know, not as good as Golden Axe. My point was that I wanted Golden Axe. And that was what happened at that place, and probably, you know, any arcade does this, really, but, you know, they would change out the machines every once in a while, and it would be a big bummer if it was, you know, they had a game that I just loved, like Golden Axe, and I would just, you know, one day I'd go in and there'd be some other game and I'd be like, no!
It was around the time the NES finally phased out.
Here's where I started talking about the Genesis version. I think that concept is partly what inspired me to do this video to begin with. I knew I was going to do Golden Axe, and I think the thing that really kind of got the wheels turning was like, ooh, I could talk about the arcade version and compare it to the Genesis version, because I just always found it kind of interesting comparing the two. Yeah, the Genesis game was really good for its time, but the arcade version is just probably one of my favorite arcade games of all time. That would almost make a good top 10 list, except I don't even think I could think of 10 arcade games I've played, because I just never really got to play very many. Oh, look, it's my first split-screen, side-by-side comparison. It's almost a Game Den staple. I don't do it in any of the Silent Hill game dens, but I did it in this and Thrill Kill and Abadox, so basically I've done it in all of the non-Silent Hill ones. It's just kind of a fun thing to do. I guess I like to compare things, or compare and contrast, rather. And I just realized I have more Silent Hill related game dens than not Silent Hill related game dens. That was never intentional. The game den was just gonna be just, you know, every now and then I would just, you know, go into a lot of detail about some game I love, and I sort of got into the tradition of doing one for every October, a Silent Hill one for every October, and basically what happened is that it's hard for me to find time to do videos these days. And a lot of times I don't want to just do game dens. I want to do film dens, and you know, I've got my podcast. I've just got other stuff I like to do, and it just sort of ended up... Oh, there's my first little YouTube poop I put in a video. I put one in Thrill Kill too, but those just really get a giggle out of me for some stupid reason. But back to the game den and Silent Hill and all that. I've just sort of painted myself into a corner now where every October I have to do a Silent Hill related game den. And it's sort of gotten to the point where that's like the only game dens I do. And you know what, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just trying to say it was never intentional. It's just like, I'm doing other stuff, and then October just kind of creeps up on me, and I have to drop whatever I'm doing and do a Silent Hill episode. And then I guess after that, I don't want to immediately do another Game Den episode. I want to do something different, and, you know, I hope that makes some kind of sense. Oh, there's my first Mortal Kombat reference. Made another one in Thrill Kill. There's a couple things I did in this video, and then I did again in Thrill Kill, and I thought they were things that were gonna be like a running gag or just something I would do every episode, and end up only doing them in those 2 videos. Oh, speaking of which, it's kind of dumb, but there's sort of a theme to how I dress in both of these videos. It's like Golden Axe has a semi-medieval setting, so I'm wearing a Renaissance-style shirt, and I know Renaissance and medieval are not the same thing, but I guess it was the closest I could get at the time. Also, I think I put the video out around Valentine's Day, or it was supposed to. I think it ended up being later than that, but that's why I'm wearing red. And for Thrill Kill, of course, you know, because it's got a BDSM theme, I was wearing like a leather... Not quite a corset or a bustier or anything quite that extreme, but it's a little bit like that. It's supposed to kind of make you think of that sort of thing, I guess. I don't know, it's pretty G-rated, really, but yeah, that's what I was going for with that. Oh, a little off topic, but I highly recommend the episode of Game Center CX where they do Golden Axe. Areno basically chooses Tyrus because he's a perv. And when during the conversation with the king or the princess or whoever it is Tyrus is talking to here, I forget, I'm not sure. I guess it's probably the princess. She says, "Yes, my lord." He read it as "Yes, my road." And he had no idea what it meant. During the map screens where there's the text telling you where to go next, he was like making up a bunch of shit because he can't read English. It was just funny. If you're like me and you prefer dubs over subtitles, it is one of the episodes that Kotaku dubbed when they put it out and called it Retro Game Master. So, eh. Oh yeah, there's another Lee cameo coming up. I needed a male voice for Deathbringer.
They don't pay me enough for this. Hey kid, get up on a cigarette. I'll be in my trailer.
That does kind of suit his body language. Oh yeah, this bit. There was something I didn't quite understand about the game at the time I recorded this. You can essentially kill your enemy twice. If you can knock them down, and then before they hit the ground, you can throw magic into the air, which will knock them down a second time, and you essentially kill them twice, and Deathbringer really takes advantage of that. I used to think only he can do it, but actually the player can do it too. Oh, here comes a Captain S reference, which is kind of cool in a way. I actually took the dialogue directly from that scene in the show, and I just changed it wherever needed. Like, blue dragons get the kick instead of blue pigs get the kick, and like I said, big boy instead of fly boy or whatever it was. And there's where I made fun of poor Brett for no reason. I just thought that outtake was funny because Captain S is so arrogant. It was sort of fun seeing him fall down, but in retrospect, I kind of felt like I was poking fun at Brett, which seemed kind of mean, because he's actually a really, really nice guy. I wonder how many people are watching this video and going, "Captain what? What the fuck is she talking about?" Yeah, I did a lot of random little cute things with text back then. That was something that didn't really last for too much longer after this video, I don't think. I think the last video I did that in was Silent Hill 2. Yay, Xbox Live Arcade! I was so happy when they put that on there. I didn't even have an Xbox at the time, and I was still happy about it. So I figured at least, you know, other people could be introduced to the arcade version of Golden Axe. Oh, here's my little box art comparison thingy, which I did in Abadox also. Couldn't do it with Thrillkill because Thrillkill didn't have box art. I didn't mention it in the video, could be that I didn't notice it yet, but Axe Battler's left arm and hand just really bothers me. That is totally at the wrong angle to be holding the axe, and the axe handle just kind of magically ends right at the end of his hand. That is really sloppy. I wonder if he wasn't holding that axe at first and then someone went and photoshopped it in later on. That brings up a good point. It is kind of funny that they called it Golden Axe, and yet, I mean, technically there's 3 main characters, but Axe Battler is the default one, and he's sort of the quote-unquote main character out of the 3, I guess. And, he doesn't carry an axe. However, the dwarf carries a literal golden axe. Iron Sword reference. Yeah, that's the quintessential box art that has nothing to do with the freaking game. It shows this like Conan-like figure who is portrayed by Fabio, by the way. Just thought that was an interesting fact. And your character is a freaking knight in armor. And yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm actually not that big a fan of Golden Axe 2 just because it feels a little too much like the original game with a new coat of paint slapped on it, but it does have some pretty freaking awesome box art. You know, I never thought of it before, but I wonder if Boris posed for Axe Battler. That kind of looks like his face, maybe. Boris poses for his own paintings sometimes. You can kind of tell by looking at the face. I say the dwarf is accurate, but actually if I were to be picky, I would say that he's a little too buff. The one in the game looks a little more awkward and cartoony, I guess, but oh well. It's freaking Boris, of course he's gonna make them all buff. Yeah, I always use the background music from whatever game or movie I'm talking about as the background music for my video. This is the only time I actually mention it, though. The only time I didn't was Catwoman because I hate that soundtrack and I hate the movie, so I just... Instead, I used music from Batman for the NES. You can imagine the first time I beat Golden Axe and, like, it cuts to 2 kids playing an arcade game and I'm like, really? They're really gonna go this route? But it's so damn stupid that it's funny, which, you know, is clearly what they were going for.
Check out this Japanese background with all the English.
Oh god, I didn't bother to do it in the actual video, but I'm gonna see how many... I'm gonna try to read these signs. I see video game doi doi, some words spell E-I-R-O-U. I have no idea what that means. You probably have to know Japanese to understand some of this. Hokari sweat. And something Haga something. H-A-G-A, which is this done in the same font as the Sega logo. Wow. For you by Sega. See you next game. Here's my bad score. Oh. By the way, killing people twice is a good way to it's a good way to bring your score up. You get a shitload of points for that. Pretty cool that the game grades you, and it grades you based on your actual gameplay skill and not how far you got, because however far you can get is pretty much based on how many quarters you have with you. We're getting up to the end now. With the way this game ends, you had to know I'd put in a Benny Hill reference. I know it's been done a lot, but come on, how could I not? Oh yeah, and it was a serious pain trying to get the characters to move fast enough to, you know, mimic the Benny Hill thing. I had to render it out multiple times because Vegas will just only, you know, speed it up so much. So they look kind of blurry and crappy, but oh well. You know, it's for comedic effect, I think it's fine for that. Also, these credits are ridiculously long, just because I wanted to fit that whole gag in there. Yeah, happy belated Valentine's Day. I think it was like the end of February that this video actually got finished. Oh, here's something I like about the Genesis version. This little sequence at the end of the credits is just like, it's just too cute not to use. End. Aww. Well, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.